Guess who is back? I am pumped to hit the baseline and catch you guys in the stands. But check this out, even before her plane touched down in Austria, a total frenzy had erupted. Imagine this. A sterile arrivals terminal in Linz, the kind of place that usually reeks of duty-free perfume and jet lag, suddenly morphed into a high-stakes championship arena. 30, maybe 40 voices began roaring one name while red, white and blue flags whipped through the air under those harsh fluorescent lights. These were Filipino expats who tracked her flight, clocked out early, and drove from Vienna, Salzburg or Graz just to be the first faces she saw. Alex had not even gripped a racket yet. She had not checked into her room or even glanced at the bracket, yet Austria was already screaming her name like she had already hoisted the trophy. That specific moment, that viral airport clip that blew up across every social platform within minutes, reveals everything about Alex's current trajectory and why the pro circuit is completely blindsided by her rise. Let us back up for a second because the backstory is crucial. 21 days before that airport chaos, Alex walked off the court in Miami after a soul-crushing 6-0, 6-2 blowout against Carolina Machova, a devastating scoreboard. It is the type of loss that triggers a mental tailspin and an immediate social media blackout. But here is the part everyone missed in the chaos. She fought through that entire match with a muscle tear. Her coaching staff did not breathe a word of it until the final point was played. No mid-match theatrics, no quitting, no sob stories during the press conference. She competed, she fell short, and she stayed silent. Within days, she was on a flight to Mallorca, headed straight for the Rafael Nadal Academy, where footage from March 31st showed her locked into brutal baseline wars on red clay, full power, sharp cuts, no fear. You would never guess she was injured weeks prior. That is not just talent, that is pure grit. That is a 20-year-old deciding that the clay court does not care about your pain or your excuses. Neither will she. Now consider what training at the Rafael Nadal Academy actually implies. This is not just a flashy gym with cool lighting and cameras. This is the fortress built by Rafael Nadal, the king with 22 Grand Slams and 14 French Open titles. 14. He mastered the very surface Alex is grinding on now. When Nadal opens his doors to a young star, it matters. When he calls her family, it changes everything. Alex opened up about their bond in a March 30th sit-down, and her vulnerability was honestly refreshing. She confessed to getting starstruck. She even admitted to leaving his texts on read for days, not to be rude, but because his legendary status literally froze her up. Think about that. This young woman can stare down thousands of screaming fans in a pro arena, yet she gets shy when Nadal sends her a message. That raw human moment probably made 100 million more people jump on her bandwagon. But make no mistake, the training is intense. Those hours on the Mallorca clay are the real deal. The resulting footage of her drills before Linz showed a player arriving not just to participate, but to dominate the field. And the stakes were high. Her rank slid to 45, after Miami making the clay season her only bridge back into the top 30. The mission was clear: win big in Linz, rack up the points, secure that top 30 spot before the gauntlet of Stuttgart and Madrid begins. It looks easy on paper, but it is grueling when you are 20, coming off a loss and debuting as a seed in a stacked 500-level draw. When that airport video went viral, the narrative shifted instantly. It stopped being just about tennis. It was no longer just about Alex managing the pressure of the rankings. The real question became, what kind of movement is growing around this girl? Why does every tournament she enters seem totally blindsided by the human tidal wave she brings with her? This is where the plot thickens. There are roughly 30,000 Filipinos living in Austria. 30,000, that is a deep-rooted, powerful community woven into every major city. But if you zoom out, you realize Austria is just the tip of the iceberg. The European Filipino diaspora is massive. Italy, Germany, the United Kingdom, all a quick flight from Linz. These are not just casual observers checking scores. These are the same fans who turned a side court at the Australian Open into the loudest, most electric venue on the grounds. These are the people who showed up in Dubai and left veteran commentators speechless at the sheer volume of their support. They swarmed Indian Wells and Miami with flags and chants, leaving tournament organizers scrambling to keep up with the energy. The trend is undeniable. Overwhelming force in Melbourne, Dubai, Indian Wells and Miami. 4 continents, 5 massive events. The same loyal army shows up every single time. Yet somehow the Linz Open organizers seemingly showed up with a plan and ticketing system that was totally unprepared for the storm. One top analyst put it bluntly: 30,000 Filipinos in Austria, with millions more just a flight away. The critique is not that they failed on purpose. it is worse, it is that they ignored the clear evidence from every other stop on the tour this season. Tiny seating sections and restricted access failed a crowd that was not a guess, it was a proven fact. When does being surprised become a choice? Because the Filipino army, and that is the literal name for them now, is not some random flash mob. They are not restricted to one city, and they are definitely not a social media trend that is going to fade out next week. There are millions of Filipinos worldwide who see in Alex something rare in professional sports, a mirror of their own dreams and identity. The Philippines has not historically been a factory for Grand Slam stars. Elite tennis has always been a playground for European and American money and media. The entire commercial engine of this sport was engineered for crowds in London, Paris, New York, and Melbourne. Alex holds rank 45, but her star power rivals the world's top 5. Sponsors, once blind to Southeast Asia, are now obsessed with her airport footage. This is no small wave, the entire sport is shifting on its axis. Imagine being a tournament director seeing that viral airport clip overnight. Your champion gets polite claps while this 20-year-old creates a riot. You aren't just hosting a match, you're hosting a full-blown cultural revolution. Her week is pure cinema, moving from silent clay drills to viral chaos. From solitary sweat to hundreds of thousands of views in an instant, a hidden grind transformed into a global moment in under 1 week. She works in silence and handles every setback with total quiet resolve. But in public, the world reminds everyone she's a massive phenomenon. Linz, Stuttgart, and Madrid are next, where the Filipino heart beats strongest. With over 650,000 Filipinos nearby, the army is already here. They are tracking the draws and booking flights to storm the gates. This isn't a manufactured story. It is raw, organic, and completely real. Nadal's support and the diaspora's love aren't some calculated PR campaign. These airport scenes are genuine energy the corporate world cannot simulate. She fought through a muscle tear and said nothing to the public. She trained on clay with a legend who treats her like family. Her arrival turned a quiet airport terminal into a roaring stadium final. At 20, she's rebuilding her rank while carrying a nation's dreams. The real question isn't about ticket sales or stadium seating logistics. Is tennis ready for a force that defies its traditional market roots? Can the sports infrastructure actually adapt to the community she has built? Every tournament this season has been blindsided by the Alex effect. From April 6th to the 12th, the sport must find the answer. Alex stayed silent and worked, refusing to make any easy excuses. Now she will let her game speak for 30,000 screaming fans. A legend with 22 Grand Slams saw a fire worth investing in. The airport chants will follow her right onto the stadium center court. Analysts are still scrambling to explain the magic they are witnessing. This stretch is the moment the tennis world runs out of surprises.